All right, I've got 7 o'clock. I'm going to do the roll call, and then we will, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Hannon. Rich Berlandy?
I'm here.
Perfect. Emily Brick, I know, is not here. Dave Fox?
I'm here.
Great. Bob Hannon?
I'm here.
Robert Eisner?
Here.
Mark Simpson? Mark Simpson? I saw you. Unmute yourself, Mark. Mr. Simpson. You what? Yeah. Mark, unmute yourself. Oh, for the love of, oh, it's holy. All right. Ned Statchen. Ned? Ned Statchen, are you here? I can see you.
Unmute yourself, Ned.
That unmute button is just so tricky.
Thank you.
Very complicated.
Jay Tolan.
I'm here.
We start drinking before vacation starts tomorrow. Jay, you're here?
I am here.
Beautiful. And Guy, I have not seen. Colin. All right, Mark, you're here?
I think so.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right.
I was unmuted. I'm not too sure what happened.
All right. We'll believe you. Mr. Hannon, it's all yours. You got unmute.
So Emily's the only one that's not here?
Emily and Guy Wolf are not here.
Okay.
So Rich can vote in place of Guy.
Okay, so with that, everybody will end up being seated tonight. Call this meeting to order 7:02 on Wednesday, October 7th. First item of business is Christian Rice property, 17 Vine Hill Road. And I'm actually surprised that we have a return visit from an engineer that we haven't seen for a while.
Thank you. You want me to go ahead?
That would be appreciated.
Okay. Thank you. For the record, my name's Dave Whitney. I'm a professional engineer with an office in Avon, representing Christian Rice, who is the owner and applicant of Lot 10-I, also known as 17 Vine Hill Road. This existing lot of record is located on the left or the south side of the road as you get near the cul-de-sac of Vine Hill Road. Michael Klein went to the site back in 2014 when this lot was created and determined that there were no wetland soils on the site, but there is about 65 feet of an intermittent water course shown on this map as that blue line on the left side of the screen. This first sheet shows the overall lot. It's 5.5 acres. And primarily this plan was prepared for the septic. It contains a lot of information related to the septic system design, which has been approved. So Shannon, if we could go to the second sheet. Okay, this is most of the lot at a larger scale, 1 inch equals 20 feet. It's sheet number 2 of the plans that were submitted. And it shows, again, about in the center of the lot on the left-hand or the north side, there are 4 wetland flags that are shaded in light blue. And I have indicated the 150-foot upland review area in the dark blue dashed line that Shannon is pointing on with the cursor. So again, no wetland soils, just a small portion of an intermittent watercourse, which was dry as of earlier this week. What happens out here is there's a drainage swale that has been determined not to be an intermittent watercourse, and that's shown in yellow. Then at a certain point by wetland flag number 1, the water pops out of the ground and it meets the definition of an intermittent watercourse as per the DEEP and Michael Klein. So there is a letter attached to the wetlands file from Michael Klein, a copy of his letter from April 19, 2014. And what the applicant, Christian Rice, would like to do is build on this lot, but he'd like to bring his driveway in from the lower portion of the lot. That would be the northeastern corner of the lot, where I have it shown as shaded in brown. And there would be some associated clearing, basically the disturbed area within the upland review area, and that's shaded in green. Also, Bruce Sear had requested that because this is a very seasonally wet area, that a catch basin be installed in the street above the existing drainage pipe to catch the water runoff from the driveway, and also a swale be installed, and I've shown it in orange there, a swale being installed on the eastern lower side of the driveway. If you went to the site and you saw the lot right next door, you would see there's exactly this type of swale also on the lot next door. So it's sort of a typical thing that's done in this relatively seasonally wet area. This way, we won't have water going out into the street, and we won't have water going onto the neighbor's property as a result of this driveway construction. The house that you see on this plan is just a placeholder. Shannon's showing it right now. The architect is in the process of designing it. It's going to be a different shape than this, along with a different shaped pool. But all of the house and all related grading and activities will be outside of the 150-foot upland review area, other than the driveway shaded in brown and the cleared area shaded in green, and associated grading for the driveway. The septic system is shown sort of on the right there on the southern portion of the lot, well outside of the upland review area. So I think this is a relatively simple application compared to some of the applications you've had in the past. We've received Shannon's review comments from her memo dated October 2nd, 2020. Some of these comments are informational. Some of these comments have recommendations, such as we install silt sock in addition to the silt fence that's shown on the plan. That's fine. She mentions that a culvert might be needed underneath the driveway outside of the upland review area, but in the area of that that swale. So, and she's absolutely right. Yes, the final plan will show a culvert in that area. However, that's outside of the upland review area. And she has some recommended items for consideration: pest management plan, pre-construction meeting, etc. The applicant and I have no issue with those recommendations. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but it's my understanding at this point the commission is going to decide whether to accept the application and decide whether they want a site walk and to determine significance.
So holding to our normal routine. Rich, you're up first for any questions or comments you might have.
No, I don't have any questions or comments.
Dave?
Yeah, just a couple questions. One, there's the existing dirt driveway that's totally outside of the upland review area. I was wondering the rationale for not using that and putting it where you're proposing it.
Okay, Dave Whitney responding. First of all, that location is directly across from the house on the opposite side of Vine Hill Road that is very close to the street. Second of all, the owner desires to have a driveway where people can come up and have the house presented to them as you drive up the driveway, instead of driving in to the side of the garage. It was our thought that, yes, this is a regulated area, but I don't see how construction of this driveway and the clearing will have any impact on the intermittent watercourse.
Okay, I was just curious.
That was the thinking.
All right. Another thing, I was wondering if I had seen the letter on the wetlands, lack of soils and the intermittent watercourse. I was wondering if there was any notes that, why the intermittent watercourse delineation started where it did. And since it was 6 years ago, whether it's possible that it might be a little bit different under present day conditions. I noticed on the town's GIS website, the contour lines show a swale that's a little more prominent than shown by the contour lines on your plans. I was just very curious as to whether somebody should take a quick look and see if the intermittent watercourse is approximately the same as it was then.
Okay, Dave Whitney responding. Two thoughts. Number one, the topography in the area of the intermittent watercourse was based on a field survey done for the septic system design a couple of years ago. So on the map, I do indicate the area of field topography and then the rest of the site that is aerial topography. So I think the topography in the vicinity of the intermittent watercourse is correct. Secondly, I spoke with Michael Klein, sort of anticipating that someone might ask that question. He is prepared to, visit the site again, write another letter regarding the functions, values, and impact if the commission thinks that that's necessary. I'll leave that up to you to decide if it's something that you feel is appropriate.
Okay, we'll see what the rest of the folks think. I think it would be prudent to have somebody take a quick look at it just to determine the extent of the intermittent watercourse. That's just my opinion. I guess that's what I have. Thank you.
Robert? Robert, are you there?
Yeah, unmute. Robert, you need to unmute.
This is tricky stuff, boy.
Okay, there we go. I switched off the screen to try and get to the review notes and then couldn't get back to the screen, so I apologize. I don't have any specific questions, but I would favor a site walk because there was the option to use the existing dirt driveway. I think Mr. Whitney provided a reasonable explanation as to why this is the preferred location, recognizing that if we go out on the 17th or the 18th, it's probably going to be just as dry as it has been. But I would still lean towards, because it's an optional work in the regulated area, doing a site walk. Those are my comments.
That's it? Okay. Mark?
I have no comments at this time.
Ned?
I can't quite make out. Is that like a stone wall that's like just above the watercourse? Are you putting in a retaining wall, or is that? Yes, there. Oh, that's just a. Oh, that's a clearing, clear edge of clearing. Okay.
Well, Dave Whitney responding. The dashed green line is the limits of the clearing. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Well, no, when it was smaller, the jagged line, or it just kind of looked like a stone wall or something.
Okay, the
But that's the
curly
edge of a
Q
tree
line
line.
is the edge of woods after construction.
Yeah, okay. So you're gonna put in a catch basin on the road?
Yes.
So is it just going to the water will just run across and then into the gutter, or is there going to be a pipe that takes us into the catch basin?
There's a pipe, a 12-inch pipe that will take the water into the catch basin. Like many of the other catch basins up and down the street, and including the other one on this lot. The intermittent water course that you see at the bottom of your screen in blue goes into a 12-inch pipe that goes into a catch basin. So sort of the same arrangement. So the only water that will go directly from the driveway to the catch basin is the first 10 or 20 feet of the driveway, I think.
Okay.
Because I'm going to cross slope the driveway downhill to the east, and then you can see contour line 388 there will create a depression to direct the water from the edge of the driveway into the 12-inch pipe. There'll be a flared end there, and then it'll go into the catch basin. And then the swale that's shown in orange will also go into that flared end, the 12-inch flared end, which then goes into the catch basin.
Okay.
This was at the request of Bruce Sear.
Very good. Is what's the treatment at you show a couple of proposed leak offs? Is there any stone there, or is it?
There will be stone. I didn't really show it here because the plan's not 100% done. The idea is, instead of having all the water from the house all the way down to the road go into that 12-inch pipe and into the catch basin, why not let some of the water leak off at certain locations to just minimize the quantity of water at the bottom of the driveway?
No, I agree with that.
From the proposed leak off that is shown within the regulated area, slightly below that, the driveway starts to be in cut. The driveway will be lower than the existing ground, so that it won't be possible to have a leak off work once you get much closer to the road. So I just showed a couple of them, and they typically do have a stone riprap splash pad.
Okay. Is this? I know there's an approved septic system on site. Is this going to have a well or town water?
It will have a well.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Jay?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
And
I do have a couple.
Bob,
yeah.
Guy Wolf has joined us, I believe.
Are you there?
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes,
Okay. You snuck in on me.
I did.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, Guy, regarding this application?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I do have a couple. If I understood you correctly, the house has not been designed yet, and what you're showing is just a placeholder?
Correct. It's going to be a longer house. So it's in the process of being designed. It's going to be a much differently shaped house.
Okay.
I didn't spend a lot of time drawing anything fancy until the architect sends me the actual house
Oh,
plan.
no, I fully understand that, but then this kind of leads into my other two, one question and one comment. And so because the house hasn't been designed yet, you can adjust the house on the site any way you really wanted to. So you could rotate it 90 degrees. And the reason I say that is because the roadway, the dirt roadway, to me, that does represent a prudent and feasible alternative to going through the upland review area. So it may be that the owner of the property wants to have the driveway here, but I'm going to need more than what you gave us for me to go along with that, because I think there is a prudent and feasible alternative and it keeps you out of the upland review area.
I suppose if the upland review area was an upland review area for an extremely valuable resource, that would be, you know, that'd be a different situation. The owner, you know, he's spending a lot of money to build a nice house, and he has a certain vision of the way he wants it to be. And it was our thought that this is 65 feet of an intermittent water course that won't be interfered with by the driveway below it. And really, what's the harm? I mean, again, if it was a more valuable resource, that would be different. But he has, I think, valid reasons, aesthetic reasons for wanting to have this driveway at this location.
We'll see how the commission overall feels about that, but I mean, based on what I'm seeing here, I think I would like to see a site walk on that also. I'd just like to get a better feel for what's being proposed, because, for example, if the roadway or the driveway goes in where the dirt road is, you don't even need to worry about the culvert that has to go under the driveway to lead into that intermittent water course. So I would still be questions on it, but I'm just going to raise that because I think it is an issue that we'll talk about, or at least I'll talk about. So that's going to be one of the deals that you have to handle and convince me otherwise. So I haven't made up a mind one way or another, but again, just so you know where I'm kind of coming from, that's kind of the direction.
Okay, thank you.
But I think that it would probably be a good idea to have a site walk on this. I know that was mentioned earlier. So I think, Shannon, is probably something we do want to set up. Again, for me, it may be more looking at the dirt driveway versus the proposed driveway and how all of that interacts. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and maybe set something up there, but I guess one of the first things we have to do is accept the application, I believe. So can I get a motion to accept the application?
This is Ned. I'll make a motion to accept the application, and I agree that I think a site walk would be warranted here.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion to accept the application. I don't think there'll be too much comment. So those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? And I think unless I hear from other people, I think right now we're looking at a site walk for the site.
Okay. Is there a preference, Saturday, October 17th versus Sunday, October 18th? And I'm assuming we'll go morning at either 8:30 or 9 a.m.
I don't particularly care as long as before October 28th.
I think I'm going to be away that weekend, so neither one works for me, but that's okay. This is Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Rich, either one. And I had one question. If the dirt driveway were to be used, what would be the slope of that? Because I'm looking at the slope on the other driveway, and it's 10 and 12%, which is not ideal.
Well, Dave Whitney responding. I don't know the exact number, but it looks like the dirt drive is just as steep for the initial 50 or 60 feet, but then it becomes flatter because it goes along with the topography.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, Dave, just to throw this out, you might want to maybe take a look at what the calculations would be for the grade. So that way, when we do the site walk, you know, hopefully somebody can just at least provide the information so we know what kind of the slopes we're dealing with either way.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, I can do that in a minute.
Okay.
For the site walk, would it be helpful to flag out the location of the proposed driveway? I think it would be. I'll be happy to do it.
Probably the center line.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we've got an idea where it's going.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're going to have Michael Klein come back out anyhow, it'd be helpful for him to identify the watercourse location, particularly now given the drought conditions. It may not be as evident right now as it was perhaps when he looked at it initially.
Okay, I know at least 2 of the flags are still there.
Oh, great. Okay. Sometimes that's not the case after a number of years.
Well, I'm sensing that I think it might be helpful to have an opinion from Michael about the impact of this proposed driveway to the intermittent watercourse. So I can ask him to reflag the intermittent watercourse if he thinks that's, if the flags are gone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
This is Ned. I just have one more question. What do you think the at the start of the intermittent watercourse, what are you looking at for a pipe or whatever underneath the driveway? And would it have a head wall?
I don't think I see the need for a head wall. Typically, we don't put a pipe in that's much smaller than 12 or 15 inches.
Okay.
I had designed a site plan for this lot for the previous owner who the driveway came in up above. And we also needed a culvert underneath that driveway because if you look on this plan and you see the pool, and behind the pool, that you'll see some grading. And to create a bit of a flat building pad, the land itself is about 10, 11% grade. And we want to create a flat, relatively flat building pad. So there'll be some grading here. And you can see those arrows I'm showing at the toe of the cut slope, right where Shannon is moving the cursor. And so a culvert would have been necessary underneath the right where she has the cursor under
Right.
the other plan. So typically it may not, the amount of water may not require a 15-inch culvert, but to keep it clean, that's pretty much the minimum size.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. For a site walk, are we good with Saturday, October 17th at 8:30 then?
Yes.
First thing for the weekend and be done with it?
Okay.
Okay. I'll get emails out.
Shannon, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it okay for us to be there at the site walk as well?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep,
thank
it
you.
certainly is.
Okay, so we put this one to rest right now?
I think so, because my guess we'll wait on significance until after the site walk, like you folks usually do. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the show cause hearing, 15 Pond Street.
Correct. And I don't believe anyone's on for that. I told them they did not have to call in, but just for the record and from the agenda review, I was contacted on September 29th by Ian Cole. He is a soil scientist, indicating that he had been contacted by the homeowner to retain his services for a restoration plan. He requested some additional information from our files regarding the originally approved plan. And he just indicated from a timing standpoint, he wouldn't have a restoration plan ready for us this evening, but does anticipate having one ready for the 21st. He did want to let the commission know that he had been to the site once already and had taken a look around and made sure that at least things were stable and there wasn't a concern for erosion, and he felt everything at this particular point in time was stable. There wasn't an immediate erosion concern. And again, just wanted to assure the commission that he was moving forward and intends to be here on the 21st with the plan. And I've been following up as well.
So nothing really so much for today, but hopefully the next meeting.
Correct.
Shannon, do you know if he's removed some of that debris that he was planning to remove?
I don't know if that's been done. I can check in.
Nah, it's not a big deal.
I mean, I would, if I had to guess, I'd probably say no because they were told not to do anything.
No, at the same meeting, we told him he could remove that brush and bring it
Okay.
down to the Down dump.
Right, we told him the stuff that was already down, we told him could come, and I had given him the link so that he knew where to take it in town and the time, and, because it's not open every day.
It was kind of in the lane across the water course in a couple locations. So.
Right. So that's it for that one.
Okay.
And then next is.
Next item on the agenda, show cause hearing 1179 Farmington Avenue.
Correct. And I've got, you were emailed both contracts with the, for the third party review. I've got them both here. So we've got Connecticut Ecosystems and Malone McBroom. Out of courtesy for both consultants, particularly for here, their fees are redacted for this showing. And they were redacted in the ones that went to the commission as well. I discussed this with Bob prior to sending them out. And the thought process was that they could both stand on their merits for review of content. The fees and the whole scheme of things are comparable and shouldn't pose a huge concern one way or the other. But that's what we've got for us this evening for this matter. And I believe the attorney's on as well. If we've got questions, I believe Attorney Galsky's on.
So, I mean, quick question, Shannon. Besides sort of reviewing or going over the two proposals, where are we with the site itself?
There's been no changes.
Okay, and
I mean, I haven't been on the property, but my understanding is there's no changes. George basically had done, you know, everything I think that he intended to do at this particular point in time. He had drafted the mitigation plan, and we had asked him to not, obviously, let's not go for a full detailed design of the mitigation plan.
Yeah.
Let's get everyone let's get everyone in the same page with respect to what we're going to do, have the third party review come in, and then agree, disagree, modify.
Yeah. Alcohol swap. Okay. A couple. Okay. Delete that.
So that's where that stands.
okay, and is there anything in particular at this point in time that we need to do with the documentation that George submitted? I mean, in particular, the September 10th document, because, and I've gone back, I've looked at everything, I've looked at the photos, the air map or the aerial photos, photos of the site, things of that nature to get a better idea as to what's going on. But I'm not sure if we really need to discuss a lot of George's September 10th sort of proposal. I don't know if you feel any differently than that, or is it more a matter of just looking at what Malone and McBroom and Connecticut Ecosystems submitted to figure out which direction we go?
Well, I guess, how's this? George isn't on the call because I told him he didn't need to be on the call. So if we have questions, then I guess that was my mistake with respect to that.
No, that's fine. I'm just asking because again,
Yeah.
I think with what George is proposing is going to tie into with what
Right,
Ecosystems and Malone and McBroom are proposing.
right. And so,
it's going to mesh that way. So
right,
I don't think we really need to do a whole lot with George's document tonight, but I just wanted
right.
to at least get that on the table.
Yes. So what I did is all the documents, and they had been outlined in the scope of work that we reviewed at the last meeting, and they're actually this contract, the Malone McBroom contract, re-itemized them. But any of the documents we received from George, his wetland delineation, the functional description, and the mitigation plan, the survey document, the Army Corps of Engineers, our cease and desist order, and the Mormon Temple report by BL companies. All that was shared. It was all uploaded to a SharePoint site, and the links provided to the wetland scientists that we asked for proposals, as well as this information. This same link was shared with the Army Corps of Engineers and National Park Service. And I sent the link to you folks so that it, for, you know, hopefully an easier method of managing the documents that have come in. And we can continue to use this, this link moving forward. So it's there, and that's part, I mean, that's basically step one of our request to them was that we expect, as part of their review, that they will do a review of all the documents that have been submitted and understand what's being requested and illustrated in those documents, or ask questions regarding them. But nonetheless, that's part of the scope of services we requested from them.
I guess, I mean, I'll start off with a comment, but I mean, basically, it looks as though the sort of general outline of both of the proposals pretty much follow each other, except one just provides more detail in terms of what they'll be doing. But looking at tasks 1 through 5, they basically look the same. So other than that, open it up for discussion with the commission members just to see sort of where they're at with this, if they've had a chance to look at it. Or do we need a little more time to think about it, select one? I mean, how do you want to deal with that, Shannon? I mean, do you need an answer today, or what's the preference? Because I know the sooner the better.
The preference is today, but it doesn't have to be. I guess if there's questions or more time, it would be helpful if there's specific questions that I can relay them to each of the consultants that put forth their bid, or if there was something else someone thought of in the interim. Obviously, you know, I think the Malone McBroom is time and materials not to exceed, and I think the Connecticut Ecosystems is task-based. You know, it's just a lump sum by task. And, you know, understanding most likely this is going to evolve, right? Whoever we decide to select and move ahead with, they're going to come back with a report and say, okay, you know, we agree, we disagree, we think these things should take place. The owner and his team is going to react to it. There's probably going to be a subsequent review at some point. But, you know, at some point you can't, I didn't want to pigeonhole us and go back and forth too much. So I took what I knew we had and said, okay, this is what I'd like you to propose on, so that we have an equal basis of comparison. So that's why the tasks are virtually identical, because they just matched what I had requested. But the documents had been shared with both of them prior to them submitting the proposal.
All right, so I mean, one of these days I may change it up, Rich, and decide to go in reverse order. But until that time, you're the lucky one.
I really don't. I mean, both firms are obviously reputable firms. I really don't have any questions or comments.
Dave?
Just one quick observation. It seemed like Malone and McBroom put a little bit more wording into the various tasks, and I particularly like them as saying that they would be talking with the commission about whether this would have received an approval if they were actually applicants. It seemed like a good thing. Probably both firms would do that, but at least they put it down into writing. That's my only comment.
Robert?
I'd be comfortable with either firm. I'm not surprised that the scope of services reads similar because obviously when you're responding to a request, you cover everything that was in the request. So I think, there wasn't a lot of difference. I think making a decision sooner is better for the commission and for the contractor so they can get started. There's a lot of material to review, so I'd rather have them get started sooner. If there is a differentiating factor that staff identified and there's a recommendation, I would support that. On the fee structure, I tend to like fixed cost versus time and material approaches because the time and material may appear cheaper from the beginning, but oftentimes we end up spending, or the project ends up costing more. So all other factors being equal, we may have more of a guarantee with a fixed cost versus time and material job. But again, I would defer if there's a recommendation from staff. End of comment.
Thank you. Mark?
Not knowing either company, I would leave it up to others who have better knowledge to make the decision which one.
Ned?
I was a little, I noticed when they talked about conductory site ecosystem, conductory site visits, but I saw where Malone and McBroom were they were gonna have site visit, but not with us. And because they said they will attend Inland Wetland Commission meetings via teleconference. They'll say they'll.
There's one of so under task 2, 1 independent evaluation, 1 visit with the property owner's wetland consultant, Mr. George Logan, and 1 visit with the commission.
Okay, all right. Well, they're very similar. I don't know them greatly. I know them a little bit. I know Malone. I'm a little more familiar with Malone and McBroom. They're pretty big. But big isn't always better. I don't know. If I had to choose, I would probably go with Connecticut Ecosystems, but I'm a bridge engineer and I don't do a whole lot of environmental stuff. So if there were those who know more than I do, I would, go with their intuition as to this type of work. That's all I have.
Jay?
Yeah, I don't know either company either, and I know less than you, Ned. So the only observation I would make is that, I recognize Malone and McBroom's name for whatever that's worth, only because it seems like they've been before us, a number of times with projects over a couple of years I've been on the commission. Whether that's, enough to sway us to consider them over Connecticut Ecosystems, I don't know. It's just my observation. That's really all I have to offer on that. Thank you.
Guy?
Hang on, I muted him because there was some talk, and then let's see. Cast on now. He should be able to unmute himself. Guy, you can unmute yourself. Maybe. Oh yeah, he should be, because anyone here on the panel can mute and unmute themselves, regardless of what I do. Okay. Guy, do you have a comment?
I know these two a little bit, but I don't know that I've got any particular preference between the two.
Okay.
And for my 2 cents, I mean, the one concern I have with Malone and McBroom is they are pretty busy. And I mean, that would be the only concern that I have, in making sure that there's sort of dedicated staff to deal with this. We have worked with Ed Pollock before on a subdivision that we were accused of looking for a gold-plated subdivision. But he worked as a third party on that, and I think he did a pretty reputable job for us. You know, this may be a rather minute thing, but when you start talking about the time that somebody puts into this, it's a lot quicker to get here from West Hartford. Yeah, he's in West Hartford, I think. Yeah, West Hartford, maybe versus Cheshire. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but again, it's, you know, maybe you get a little more time in the field rather than driving back and forth. So, I mean, I would be comfortable with either one. Like I said, the only concern I have with Malone and McBroom is what's their scheduling like, and are they able to put somebody on this right away? And that I can't answer, but that would be my one concern about Malone and McBroom. Not concerned about the quality of the work they would do. I'm not concerned about the quality of work that Connecticut Ecosystem would do either.
This is Jay. I have a quick question if I could chime in. Are we under any time constraint? Because I know there's a certain period of time that you have to consider these things. I'm not sure if you're saying this or implying this, but you know, and that's a very good point that Malone and McBroom is busy. So, and this has already been kind of hanging for, you know, a period of time, you know, waiting for reports and whatnot. But are we in any kind of time constraint to take action on this?
No, because this isn't an application. This is a violation procedure.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. I was just thinking if we had that 65-day thing, we might already be beyond that. But you know, if we went with Malone and McBroom and they're that busy, would that create a problem? That was all I was thinking. Thanks, Shannon.
Well, I think the one thing to follow up on that with, Jay, is that we also don't want to maybe have them start working on it mid-November, late November, because if you've got to do the site visits, if you're not getting out to the site relatively soon, then you may be looking at March or April maybe, because you know this is such a crazy year with weather. Last year we had no snow. This year we may get 15 feet. You know, it's so again, part of this I think is the sooner that people can get out to do the site walks and get a better understanding of the site, I think that would be better off for us.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy year, just about in every possible way you can imagine. But you know, whatever.
Yeah, seeing as how we're in drought conditions, odds are it's probably going to be mostly a blizzard winter. So, you know, just can't figure it out.
I would figure. Okay, thank you.
So what do you need from us right now, Shannon?
Well, it sounds like there isn't necessarily a strong preference. And the only thing I want to clarify is that I know I'd mentioned time and material for the Malone McBroom. It's time and material not to exceed. So each task has a maximum value, but will be billed out at time and material. So if it's less, they won't necessarily use the full amount put in that task, but it's a not to exceed value for each of the tasks that have been identified. So I just wanted to clarify that. you know, all things being equal, then we can go by price. Like I said, they're comparable. Or you, yeah, but yeah, I would like to make a decision and be able to move this forward. Otherwise, we're not making a decision until 2 weeks from now. It's the 21st. We're definitely at the end of the month. People aren't going to get mobilized perhaps till November 1st, depending upon, you know, individual workloads and commitments they already have. You know, we can't really expect somebody to be out here the next day that we make a decision. Quite honestly, I'm off the next 2 days. Nobody's getting notified till next week. So, but they, you know, we need to keep moving this along. It unfortunately took, I would have hoped to have been here sooner, but it took longer to get the documents, and, you know, we really couldn't go out for a proposal without having these folks have something to react to. So.
Well, what I think I may do is I'll start with Rich, and just, if you have a preference, give your preference, and we'll see how it tallies up.
This is Rich. If I had to pick, I'd go with Connecticut Ecosystems. I kind of agree that the local connection, spending time in the field rather than the car is somewhat significant.
Dave?
I don't really think I have a preference either way.
Okay.
Okay. Robert?
Restating that I think both companies could do a fine job. If I had to decide tonight, I would go with Connecticut Ecosystems for a fixed price and the fine schedule. I agree that you know, less travel time will get us more work on the actual projects. But I'm also comfortable if the group leans towards Malone McBroom.
Mark?
Being consistent, I don't have a preference.
Okay. Ned?
I think they're both very reputable, and I would be comfortable with either one, but I would lean towards Connecticut Ecosystems.
Okay. Jay?
You know, I don't know either other than just by the reputation of Malone and McBroom, because you know, they presented before us. But I think what you said about their busyness is really kind of a compelling thing for me. So I would agree, and everyone else seems to be leaning towards Connecticut Ecosystems, so I think I'll say the same.
Okay. Guy?
It's tough, but I guess I'll have to go with Ed Pollock's group.
Okay, and my 2 cents would be leaning towards Connecticut Ecosystems also. So if I'm reading the numbers correctly, Shannon, I think you have your answer.
I do. It'll be Connecticut Ecosystems. Sorry, yeah, Ecosystems.
Yes.
And I will notify them next
So
week.
And if you would also be so kind, I'm sure you're probably going to do this anyway, but at least thank Malone and McBroom for participating in this. It is appreciated.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. No, will do. Okay. And that's really it. Unless there were, you know, as we started to talk about other questions about the documents, but I think, you know, at this point, we'll let Connecticut Ecosystems dive in, and I'll notify Ed that, you know, we've selected him, and then I'll discuss with him schedule, and we'll get that. So at least for October 21st, then we'll have an anticipated schedule as to how our third-party review is going to move ahead. Obviously, I'll have to let the owner know as well, because we'll need to secure the funds for Ed's services as well. So they will be obligated to send us a check that we will hold to pay Ed's invoices.
Okay. Are there any comments from any of the reps of 1179 Farmington Avenue?
Just about your, you know, your time constraints, Bob, and wanted to do a field meeting. and now we'll have to see what the availability of the other people are? Or are we looking at this maybe further down the road then?
Yeah, it'll depend on, so Ned, I think our best value is to have Ned get out on the site ahead of, or not, Ed, good lord. Ed and Ned.
All right, I'll go. Did I drive a big truck?
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have Ed get out on the site. I think before he does a walk with the commission, he's got to see this himself first and kind of wrap his head around and get through the material. So it's unlikely that we will get a walk with Ed as a commission prior to the end of October. I don't think that's going to be feasible. And so then we'll have to work schedules, or we can bring Mr. Hannon along we'll do a FaceTime call, and he can join us that way if that's, we think that's what's going to be the best scenario. So we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it, but I think it's unlikely at this point that it'll be done with the commission prior to the end of October.
I might be able to handle the flats, but no way hills.
Right. Right. So.
But again, I just wanted to know if any of the reps that are on for 1179 Farmington Avenue have any questions or comments?
Nothing, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, okay. So I guess we're done for this one for tonight.
I think so.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
All right.
Planners report.
Planners report. I got to go to my own agenda notes. I don't remember what I was telling you folks. Okay, Kakiwick, the membership renewal has been processed, so we are set there. You can log into the Kakiwick website and take a look to see their annual meeting this year has gone obviously to an online platform. I can also send a link out next week, but it's kakiwick.org. And you can get on and see if anyone does want to register for online. I'll be honest, I can't remember if there was a fee associated with it, but if there is, the town will process that for you to attend. So, but I believe it's a series of online platforms. So similar setup, it's just moved to an online platform. And so that's it under my inland wetlands. I do have Conservation Commission stuff, but we'll handle that. Sorry, I got one more thing for wetlands. We got and I included the Society of Soil Scientists of Southern New England issues a brochure each year, and this year, just like everyone else, with everyone shifting to online platforms, their New England registry, Southern New England registry, is being issued just from an online standpoint. So that was scanned in, it was included for you, and it looks like this and this, and basically it's a reference for soil scientists in the area. So it's one of many references I use when folks call us, but it's a nice handy reference for area soil scientists. That's it for inland wetlands.
You're muted, Bob.
Sorry, this ties in with also conservation, but don't we have to do elections this month?
No, we do elections at the end of the year.
I thought we had to have officers elected the end of this month.
Hang on. Nope. Sorry, you are right. I got an asterisk here. Election of officers. So October 21st meeting is election of officers, and the November meeting is the adoption of the calendar for 2021. You are correct. Thank you for the reminder.
Okay. I just know what it's like when you're trying to do this and you've only got 5 members.
Yeah.
4 had not been reappointed.
Yeah, well, at least we got everybody. We got everybody.
We got everybody. This is a good thing.
It was very, very well handled and orchestrated. So we've got everybody, which is huge. So yes, officer elections at the next meeting. And if I recall correctly, we start our meetings with that process. So.
On our calendar.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so is that in our planners report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next approval of minutes for September 16th. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Ned.
Second?
Second, Mark.
Okay, having a motion to approve the minutes. Any comments or questions? Just chime in if you have any comments, questions, corrections. Hearing none, those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? So we can close this out at 8 o'clock. Call the Conservation Commission meeting to order, 8 o'clock, or actually 8:01. It turned on me. Other business, because we don't have anything. Land acquisition, was there anything?
They meet tomorrow evening, so we will have updates for the end of the month or early November, depending upon when the meeting minutes are ready. But they haven't met the last few months, so so we'll see what's cooking with land acquisitions here in the next few weeks.
I'm planning to attend tomorrow on Zoom.
Okay, great. Perfect.
If anybody has anything for me, just let me know.
And Guy, will you be attending?
You might still be on mute.
Yes, I will.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Planners report?
Yes, I just wanted to share our simple recycling textile totals, and this came up because we had to do our fiscal report. So we had totals. We started in December 2019 and ran our numbers. Our fiscal year ends June 30th. And of course, we took the month, basically it was a month hiatus from the end of March to the end of April. We've collected over 13 tons of textile recycling. And so it equates to almost right around $1,200 saved in tipping fees. So I thought that was I was surprised that it was that much, honestly. I didn't think it would be. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic and obviously the market for this material has drastically changed. And we've even seen it with the closing of the Goodwill stores and Saver stores and things of that nature around here. We had been receiving, I think it was $20 a ton.
That sounds correct.
Something like that. But they discontinued their payments to us. So that part of the program changed, but at least we're still getting, this program's still here, it's still curbside. Obviously, it's still a net savings for us with the tipping fees, and it's hopefully keeping most of this product still out of landfills and into other usable arenas. So.
Okay.
And then the only other thing is reminders about the household hazardous waste on October 17th and the bulk waste the week of the 19th to the 23rd.
Okay. So that's it there?
Yes.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the minutes of September 16th, 2020 for the Conservation Commission meeting?
So moved, Robert.
Is there a second?
Second, Mark.
Okay. Any questions, comments, corrections? Hearing nothing, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? They pass, and it's 8:04, and we're actually out early tonight. So stay safe,
If there was only a
everybody.
bar we could go to.
Hopefully people aren't climbing the walls too badly with all contact basically being by phone or computer, so.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Stay safe.
All right, take
Good
care.
night,
Be
everyone.
safe. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you. Where's my end?